Stop thinking. There's nothing to think about. Got that? When the reality is there isn't any reason you're going to be able to come up with that's going to assure you of anything. Unless the reason you're coming up with is you know the people who are actually going to bid the market up or offer it lower, and they tell you what they're going to do and why. Well, yeah, you got to go with the flow. The trend is your friend. Cut your losses, let your profits run. You know, there's all these neat little phrases, but it's like, who in the hell knew what that meant and how to do it? It is the primary skill that you will have to acquire to create consistency, to trade without fear. No other skills needed other than the actual physical ability to put your finger on the mouse button and click in the buy or the sell, and you can find yourself in a winning trade. You can find yourself in a spectacularly winning trade, far beyond what you could ever imagine. So I'm saying that if you make up your mind to trade for a new reason, the reason is the acquisition of skills as opposed to the outcome or how much money you're making, you will acquire those skills, and then you'll find that the outcomes just take care of themselves. You're just building skills. If you get your mind out of the money, out of the outcome part, and focus on building the skills, once those skills are there, you're going to make all the money you want. The most successful traders love the process of trading, whereas a typical trader usually ignores the process because he's obsessively focused on the outcome. What I've been working with him, what I noticed is that he was able to stay focused really for not more than about an hour a day. But if he really wanted to make consistent money, then I felt that an hour a day was about it. Because after an hour a day, he'd start losing, his focus would start to diminish, and then he'd also start to get reckless. We're going to set aside or move from thinking in a trade-by-trade mentality. In other words, what this trade is going to do for me right now, am I right or wrong on this trade? And we're going to move to a series of trades perspective. Learning to trade without fear, hesitation, or internal conflicts is a function of believing that you don't have to know what's going to happen next on a trade-by-trade basis to win or make consistent money. If you don't predefine the risk in advance, you're operating out of the mindset that you think you know what's going to happen next. We got a real problem here because our minds are naturally wired to associate. In other words, our minds will automatically make connections. Thinking, assuming, or believing you know what will happen next creates an unrealistic expectation because if I start gathering evidence as to why it might not work, then I might talk myself out of taking the trade. And then if I end up talking myself out of taking the trade and it turns out to be a winner, I'll probably be in more emotional pain than what I would have been in had I taken the trade and it turned out to be a loser. But
there's a big difference between intuition and what we hope will happen. We're in a different world than